Well, look who's desperate to stay relevant. Kamala Harris is trying to hop on the commie bandwagon that's exploding in the Democratic Party. The failed Veep gave New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani a ring last week to talk about the future of the party, and will also meet with pro-Palestine activists as she sets her sights on 2028. Now, this comes as the socialists notch another victory, this time in Colorado. Gen Z nominee Malat Quiros winning her primary, ousting a 15-term incumbent. And she didn't waste any time putting her radical positions on full display.
We will not wait to take the fight to Donald Trump and the oligarchy. We will not wait to abolish ICE and pass Medicare for all, to reject corporate tax and APAC. No, we will not wait to end the genocide in Palestine.
This is a movement, and we are just getting started.
Safe to say she's a screamer. And while Democratic socialists want to cast themselves as the party of the working class, a New York Times report is pouring cold water on that narrative. According to a 2028 DSA membership survey, only 4% of the members hold blue-collar jobs, and 8 in 10 are white, and the same amount have college degrees. And according to President Trump, they're not
going to do it. They're not doing anything. Those people, what they're doing, they're so stupid. They're so stupid. And we don't wipe our hands on a flag. Did you hear the person? One of our communist people? Disgusting pigs.
I'm laughing, but it's a very serious topic, and it's very frightening, Jesse. The Democrat Party is crowing that now their insurgents are moving far west, but the reality is our country being taken over.
Maybe. We'll see how it goes. I think what's going to happen is the Democrats are right now going to accommodate the commies and see how they do in the midterms. So if they do poorly in the midterms, then they blame the communists, and then it's a civil war. But if they do well in the midterms, then it's going to be kumbaya. It's going to be a rambunctious Congress, but that civil war will be put off for another time. And right now what you're seeing is Kamala courting the communists, because after the midterms, and if the Democrats win, she's going to have to court them because they're organizers. They don't have jobs. They have nothing else to do. The presidential primary is only a year after the midterms are wrapped. So she needs to get in now. So it's her or Newsom. They're going to have to maybe reach out to the communist wing and try to unite it with the establishment wing. And if you take that, that is jobs. They're being supported by their parents. They're professional students. They're all in debt. They don't earn anything. A lot of them don't even own anything. And what are they saying? They're saying, well, we have to blow up the system because the system's rigged. It's not rigged. It's actually not rigged if you work. Now, we've all worked really hard. We've all had really horrible apartments that are like, 450 square feet. Like Kennedy said, she went right to the penthouse. But we all had no money, and we ate at bad restaurants, and we were very anxious about our futures. But we grinded, and we became successful. Now, these people haven't even started yet. Some of them are like 28. They've never worked. They don't have offices. And so they're saying the American dream is dead. Well, they haven't even tried. What are they talking about? So we're not going to be governed by people that have never started a business, never managed anything, never accomplished anything. From Tallarico to Platner to this Denver lady to back here in Queens in New York, it's all pathetic people. And I guess that's attractive if no one else has worked hard. You can point to someone and say, oh, he gets me. Yeah, life's expensive. Well, you know what? You live in New York City. It's expensive here. You live in Detroit. You live in Denver. It's expensive. You know how you make it less expensive? You get a job. You get
your Delta pillow that you got from a plane. And I was very grateful.
First class, Emily. That's
right.
Absolutely right. Apologetic. So I want to talk a little bit about Kamala, because I think this is very interesting. It's also a very predictable pivot for her because she doesn't really have any political instinct. So what she's doing is she's trying to appeal to the cool kids, because she's already offended the adults in the room, meaning the Democrat establishment and all of the donors. So they're put off by her. They don't want her to run again because they sunk $1 billion into her truncated campaign with losing results. And, she ebbed more support over the 7 weeks that she was running against President Trump than she gained. So what did she do in 2024? This is very interesting, and this is why the progressives hate her. She ran against her record in 2020, which was much more progressive. So back then, she was one of the first people to raise her hand and hump Bernie Sanders' leg in favor of Medicare for all. But then in 2024, she had to try and sound like an adult. And what she did was she made herself poison to progressives. So now she's trying to cozy up to them again. And the problem for her is she looks like an old person. It looks like me trying to use Gen Z slang to my daughters, running around making breakfast going, no cap, Idiot. Because guess what? She resonates with the great overeducated, unwashed people that DSA activists are. They're the ones that they are going after. They are the ones that the DSA looks at demographics and goes, okay, a bunch of overeducated, unemployed white people, great. We're going to primary a perfectly good Democrat there and throw them overboard. Kamala Harris does not appeal to those voters at all. And unfortunately for the Democrat Party, they have ceded so much in their hatred for Trump. They have given up on policy. And now this hollowed out shell is what they're left with. And the progressives will never see that as cool.
Jessica, I haven't seen a wait-and-see approach from the party. I see the same talking points being parroted throughout the party, throughout mainstream media of this is a big tent and we're all inclusive. And frankly, I think the whole point is anything goes. Any tattoo will be acceptable as long as you say first that you're going to vote Democrat.
So I think with the exception of Daria Lisa, generally speaking, the Big Ten has applied. People have spoken out about that, said things like, we believe in prison for murderers, or that you should deport someone who came here and violated American criminal law. But in general, yes. The attitude has been the tent is expanding, and I think that's due to the fact that the races that these DSA candidates are winning are in deep blue districts. So you have a district that's like deep attitude about this. There are a few Democrats who are part of a new coalition. Tom Suozzi is one of the leaders of it, speaking out about this overtly. But I think everyone else is taking a wait and see to see how this actually affects them electorally. Because everyone is thinking about 218. That's the number we have to get to. And the road to 218 runs through Kate Conley in New York 17, Bob Brooks, Paige Cognetti. It does not run through Milot Kiros in Denver. There was a progressive woman who was there, and now there's an even more progressive woman. I would caution people like a Kamala or Gavin Newsom in courting the DSA completely, though, because you can end up with egg on your face. You could end up like Scott Wiener, right? An incredibly progressive guy.
Egg on his face or something else?
Don't be gross.
What do you eat for breakfast?
Someone who has an incredible record on LGBTQ plus issues.
It's not.
Doesn't matter.
It is horrifying.
Unless you hate Israel, it does not matter.
But that's my point. Why weren't you let me say it?
Blue in the Palestine flag.
But that's what I'm saying. That the guy changed his position, started calling it a genocide in January, and they still came after him with what appears to be blatant anti-Semitism. I want to start with the New York Times Siena poll very quickly. All the battleground Senate seats, Alaska, Ohio, North Carolina, Texas, Iowa. In only one of them, in Maine, does the electorate think that the Democrats aren't too far to the left? In a majority of those districts, they see the party already as too extreme. So if you don't take this, gotta get out, we have no shot at taking those states. And I would pay attention to that because I want the states.
Is Obama to blame? Because he was the first one to go get glad happy with Mom Donnie.
You need to be specific on what we're blaming him for.
Because he went and did a photo op with Mom Donnie.
I know. Look,
leading the way.
Here's the way I'm looking at this, at the makeup of these hyper-educated white elites, and you hear phrases like socialist and Marxist and anarchist at the same time, and we're always thinking about the economic consequences of it, but what about the social consequences of these positions, of these groups? It's about trust. And it erodes trust because they see all human interaction as a relationship of power. One person is always trying to exploit the other, victimizer. They rarely, do you notice with these socialists, they rarely talk about corruption at all. It's of no interest to them because that's a tool to undermine the system of capitalism. So they're okay with what happens with USAID. They will condemn your paycheck, but they won't say it's illegal. They will do it in a moral sense. They will say it's greed. But corruption, they're fine with it. Think about all the Marxist and socialist countries in history. Corruption was rife. It's how you get rich in a stagnant or dead economy. So what you're going to see is a battle between trust and corruption. they will go after people who get wealthy the old-fashioned way in order for wealth, since their previous career path didn't work out that way and they're in debt. So now I'm going to go off topic here a little bit, but I want to make a point. Think about what Trump did to D.C. when he decided to clean up the city. He brought in the Guard to stop crime, restored monuments and pools. What was he really trying to do? He was trying to restore the city as a high-trust environment. You shouldn't have to go to D.C. and look over your shoulder. The left didn't like that because they function better in a low-trust world. They create groups and programs to sustain that. They don't care about the corruption that's been uncovered by Doge or Nick Shirley, the billions. They would rather attack capitalism where the corruption doesn't even come close. I mean, if Amazon were USAID, it would be out of business instead of being like the most trusted company in the world. So the scariest part for me, as our society becomes less trustful, they want to dismantle what's necessary to maintain that trust, law and order. So instead of arresting shoplifters, you just lock up the toothpaste. That make any sense?
It did.
Total sense.
Rupert Murdoch, with Roger Ailes serving as its founding CEO. Headquarters, New York City, New York. Ideology. The network is widely characterized as having a conservative perspective. It was originally launched to provide an alternative to what its founders perceived as a liberal bias in mainstream media. Programming. It broadcasts news, political analysis, and talk shows 24/7. Popular and long-running programs have included Fox and Friends, The O'Reilly Factor, and Hannity. Audience. Fox News consistently ranks among the most watched cable news networks in the United States, with a viewership demographic that skews heavily toward the political right. Historical and political context. Rise in popularity. The network gained significant traction during major national events, such as the impeachment of President Bill Clinton and the September 11th attacks, eventually surpassing CNN in ratings by 2002. Controversies. Over its history, the network has faced criticism regarding its reporting accuracy and partisan leanings. Notably, in 2023, Fox News agreed to a $787.5 million settlement with Dominion Voting Systems regarding false claims aired about the company's voting machines during the 2020 presidential election. Media landscape. Researchers and critics often describe the network as an influential player in shaping American political discourse, frequently noting its role in fostering conservative viewpoints and its strong connection to the Republican Party. Corporate structure. Owner, Fox News Media, a subsidiary of the Fox Corporation. Leadership. The current CEO of Fox News Media is Suzanne Scott, and Lachlan Murdoch serves as the head of the parent company, Fox Corporation.